Oh, how are we gonna do this tonight? How are we gonna? There we go. Check, check, check. Yo, what up, gang? What up? What up? What up? Welcome to the room. Welcome to the room. New pod alert. New pod dropped yesterday. If y'all did not check out last week's pod, that one was good too. Go listen in. Let's go through. Let's see here. We actually opened up the pod that we dropped yesterday with Future discussing how to love. Excuse me, I'm still trying to figure out this angle thing, man. I'm still trying to figure this out. We opened up with Future saying that he has had to learn how to love after, all the kids and baby mamas. Then we went to Mace. Mace was our dad tip of the week. Mace said something that I actually like. Mace made the comment. How did he put it? He said, when it came to raising his son, that it's his vision until the child have a vision for themselves. And I thought that was impactful. I thought that was profound and impactful. So we talked about that. Then we talked about the BAFTA awards with Michael B. Jordan and Delroy being subject to being called the N-word on stage. We talked about that for about 10 minutes or so. I don't really want to go into it tonight. Listen to it on the pod. We actually discussed it on the pod. Then we transition into the associate professor Allison Friedman, sharing her racist remarks to her daughter, but she was unmuted, and how that is probably more pervasive than we believe it to be. We discussed T.I. and 50 Cent's beef. And should you bring others into the discussion, like women, wives, kids, things of that nature. Then we discussed sports, Kate Cunningham, MVP, top 100 NBA players. We did not go through our 100, do not worry. And LeBron James retirement. So that's where we ended the pod that dropped yesterday. So yesterday's pod is out. It's all on purpose. Check it out on all platforms. So what are we discussing tonight? So we briefly talked about this last Wednesday. So y'all know when on Wednesday nights, I come in and speak on things that it's kind of hard to speak on a pod because of nuance. But here you're able to have a little bit more of a conversation, able to like break it down a little bit better. And this roundtable went off. I think, everybody saw the part where Clifton gets into it with the light-skinned brother. Do not know his name. He's an influencer. I can find it down here, actually. I don't know who he is. I can't find it. Not trying to be offensive, just do not know his name. It'll actually play in the beginning, because I'm going to play this from the beginning, because one of the things that I constantly fight against is the ideal of feminism, right? And then the ideal of patriarchy, and how both of these are two wings of the same bird. I always tell y'all, these are the two wings of the same abolition apartheid bird. So anytime when black men get pulled into this ideal of benefiting from the patriarchy, it always makes me want to come and have a conversation for someone to explain to me, hey, please explain to me those benefits. Typically, there is no answer to that. But I want to, let's see here. Let's start this at the beginning here. But where are we at? All right. I want y'all to notice something here, because this is a conversation. This is, a round table of black men on this question of trust black women, right? So the presumption has to be that black men either do not trust black women, or black men do not trust black women enough. Now, I know every time I come on here, I speak on how black men are the most progressive, but tonight we're going to discuss what these men are saying. So let's first play and see who are the characters in this show.
To black women, Not because all black women are right, but because all black women.
All right, so we got an actor here. All right. Probably got a social scientist in here somewhere or a professor on something. Let's keep going.
Women deserve to be heard.
The main thing is trusting black women, but how do we?
Okay, we got another actor here having a conversation about the black community. Pretty sure we got a social scientist in here somewhere, or professor of sociology, or maybe at least like a Dr. Hassan Johnson. Let's keep going. Somebody's probably
to be able to love them the way they need to be loved.
How do y'all think about safety outside?
Okay, we have another actor here. I'm pretty sure that we're gonna have a professor in here somewhere, academic in here somewhere.
We build that. Patriarchy is not good. The system that.
Okay, we got an influencer here. All right, let's keep going. I am almost certain that we're going to have a professor or maybe a pastor, in here, right? A preacher, someone that has studied the community, interacts with the community on a daily basis.
Women is not good, but a lot of us buy into that.
So I got a question I want to ask you.
These are all things that don't allow women.
Okay, we have another actor here discussing black men and the patriarchy. I'm almost certain at the end here we're going to have a professor. Let's keep going.
To come and open up to us because we are ready to play football every goddamn time.
That's how I'm gonna make my wife feel safe.
Okay, this is an actor. I do like Jay Fonz, okay? But there's no way we have a round table of just entertainers here discussing the patriarchy.
That in any conversation, I ain't gonna just be like, all right, I gotta go outside and smoke real quick. She wants to feel safe.
You can't be a natural protector. You are the one that's causing harm.
A lot.
Okay, I'm not gonna beat the I'm not gonna beat the joke into the ground. All right, I'm not gonna beat it into the ground. But you see my point here, right? When we have these conversations, right? This is supposed to be a serious conversation, right? This is something that premiered on February 12th and has over 250,000 views, right? And it's supposed to be taken seriously, right? First off, this is not even representative of black men, right? Most black men are not actors, right? Not even actors in the sense in Hollywood, right? They're not performing. Most black men have to produce. We don't have an option to be performative, right? That's just not an option here, right? If you go into acting, it is a self-selecting field. Acting, entertaining, these fields are self-selecting. So there's a certain type of individual, right? If there was a Myers-Briggs test, right, it'll be a certain type of individual that would go into this field right here, right? So we have a table full of individuals that are very different from the vast majority of the community, about to have a conversation on the community and whether or not it has something to do with the patriarchy.
A lot of men don't got shit to contribute. If you can't even commit marriage to a motherfucking woman, what makes you think that she wants to commit to having a baby?
The reward for being disciplined.
Oh, we got a rapper. That's different.
What makes men so great and what makes men be able to understand.
I think we on to something here. I think we on to something.
We're definitely on to something. Definitely on to something. But let's hear the intro. Oh yeah, this imagery right here. I'm not going to say anything about this organization. You can look it up on your own. I believe it's called Sister Song. And look, I don't think there's anything wrong with what Sister Song is doing here. But this imagery right here, right? This is intentional. You are watching a real unscripted and unfiltered conversation. The space was created intentionally for black men. Now, mind you, that is a reason why I went through that and showed you each person, right? Influencer, actor, influencer, rapper, actor, right? But it says this space was intentionally created for black men, right? And this was a black woman that put this together, right? But look what she put together to be representative of us. But let's finish it, right? To move through their thoughts in real time without performance, right? You just brought up 10 actors. It's not 10 people there, but however many, 6 actors, 7 actors, right? Without polish, right? You have 7 actors here. Our brothers need room to work through the hard stuff, and we believe that kind of honest engagement is essential to growth, solidarity, and justice. And there's nothing about this that is unpolished or not performative, because you just had a round table of quote unquote black men with 7 actors. All right, Now that we're in here, and if you've been around me long enough, you know where I'm about to go. All right, because what we're going to discuss tonight is the patriarchy. Sorry, I don't have anything funny tonight. But what we're going to do is jump down here to where did he discuss the patriarchy? You know, I don't think I wrote it down, but I'm pretty sure it's at the 38-minute mark. By the way, I had to watch this, so y'all need to go listen to the pod, okay? Y'all owe me that for having to suffer through this. All right. Oh, here we go. Yep, this is where I want to be at. Oh, my Wi-Fi acting up. Let's get on the hard line.
Taught all types of false definitions and notions of power.
Oh, hold on. There we go.
Hang out, remembering that it's all there and it's obtainable, but sometimes
Something that I really do think about when we thinking about power, right? Because I think we misunderstand power. We've been taught all types of false definitions and notions of power, and a lot of the time, the way that we understand power is really abuse, right? It's like we bully each other. We abuse our power over each other and say things that we're not supposed to. We bully or abuse our power over women. We abuse our power over kids. You know what I'm saying?
And what he's saying is, it's not a lie, right? But it's not the whole truth, right? It's almost like if you wanted to smell something, right? But you know what bread smells like, right? Or you know what banana bread smells like. You keep your eyes open, but you cover your nose, right? You really can't taste it if you don't have your nose working, right? Your senses have to work together. And a lot of the information that's given out here is like, hey, men abuse and they do these things. And then when you look at the abuse numbers, right? The abuse numbers are very, very similar. They're within 5 percentage points of one another, right? So it's you're taking on a blame of something that really isn't one-sided, right? And if you make it one-sided, you basically knocking the legs off the table.
A lot of the time, that's what we see. And I want to know just a simple question when we're thinking about, I think with the opposite of abuse, when we think about love, and love can be powerful. Love can be extremely powerful. What does it mean to love Black women? And I want y'all to think about, because you was talking about what did you say? Accountability. Holding ourselves accountable while holding ourselves hostage.
Trying to hold ourselves accountable without holding ourselves hostage.
Talking about parents and all type, So I'm just we can tie all of that shit in. It's not.
And we're gonna let one guy answer it, right? But this becomes my problem when we put. This is a conversation, right, of Black men, discussing relationships. This is a conversation of quote unquote Black men discussing raising, children, which all can do that, right? But this is also a conversation of Black men that's inferring that, hey, there's a level of love that should be added that has not been added, right? And so that means that this should be a question that everybody should have an answer to, right? It's not a hard question on like, hey, how do you love someone? It's not a difficult question, right? One of the things that I was taught growing up, and I was actually taught this by my father, who's not the most gentle man by any means, right? But he knew what love was. And my father would always tell me that love is seeking the highest good of another, right? That's the way he was taught, right? It is always seeking the highest good. To love someone means that I want to see you win. That's it, right? Now, you can go deeper in love, right? I want to see you win to the detriment of me. But this is not a complex or difficult question, but I want you to see how a table full of actors representing Black men, how they go about this.
Not a limited conversation, but, just thinking about just first to introduce it into, like, what does it mean to love Black women?
Yeah. Well, I got a perspective about love. One perspective about love. I think that love is uncontrollable. I think it's spontaneous. I think in its rarest form, you cannot contain it. And I think that's the first part. I think it doesn't.
And I wanted to play that part right there, right? Because he said that love is uncontrollable. And I disagree, right? I think love is irrational. But I think it's definitely controllable. I think when you use the idea that love is uncontrollable, it allows too many excuses, right? Of I'm doing this because I love you, right? When truthfully you're being selfish or you're being insecure, right? But it's this idea that it's uncontrollable, right? Because it sounds good when everything's going good. But then when things are going bad and you still in love, if you don't have self-discipline, if you don't have self-control, that's where all that weird stuff comes from. And the point that I'm making here, because we're going to get to the patriarchy, right? But the point that I'm making here is that a lot of times we have men that quote unquote say the right things, right? It sounds good, but it's a weakness, right? Real power isn't bullying. Real power is restraint. That's what all men should know, right? The power to defend comes from the power to destroy. But discipline keeps you from destroying. Discipline keeps you from hurting, right? You can't be gentle unless you can be destructive. You can't be a pacifist if you're harmless, right? But I wanted to play when he said that part right there because that bothered me, right? Love is uncontrollable. But no, it's not, right? If you love my sister and she tells you she don't want to be with you no more, you got to get control of yourself. You can't say, well, I love you and I want to be with you regardless. No, it's over. It's a discipline. This can very easily spiral, right? But again, when we have a table full of actors sitting around talking about masculinity and black masculinity, these are the type of answers you're going to get, right? But why? Because that sounds like a good answer. It's a terrible answer. But let's get to the patriarchy part. Let me see if I can find this. I think this is at 5136. This is the part that everyone keeps saying that Clifton is going off.
Now, as I said, I said 60s and 70s.
Let me say this.
Don't overtalk me.
I'm gonna fucking overtalk you because
I'm good,
you're talking out
but you're not gonna disrespect me.
You don't know what the fuck you talking about.
I am.
I do. Love it.
I do.
You don't know what the fuck you talking about.
Oh, I do.
Because you can't
I do.
shit.
I do.
You don't know it, nigga.
I do.
I'm good. You don't know what the fuck you talking about. Fuck out of here. I'm living. You can't tell me what the fuck I'm living, nigga. I'm living it right now. You cannot fix.
Check it out. Check it out. See what we got going on right here?
No shit that you don't even know is happening.
I think there's a misunderstanding.
No, but he's generalized. You can't. No, listen, bro. Let me stop. This is what it is. Let's get to the truth of this shit. You can't fix no shit unless you meet somebody who is on another level to help you elevate to understand. I'm not indicting anybody. I'm telling you what the shit is. You can't fix some shit that you don't know about.
And again, right? You see, he got up and left, right? This is a huge problem in the community, and this is one of the reasons why I say a lot of these conversations we only need to have them with people that have the ability to have abstract thinking, right? Clifton is the oldest man at the table. There's a respect that would need to be given. The same way if that was the oldest black woman at the table, we give respect. I have no idea why, as black men, we treat one another like that, right? Like we treat one another as if there is no difference between all of us, right? The man at the table, 70 years old, he's trying to get a point across. The youngest guy, or one of the youngest guys at the table, I think he's the youngest guy at the table, tell him that he doesn't know what he's talking about, right? And again, this comes to the part of, the ideal of what love is, right? Seeking the highest good of another, right? Not so much being right, but saying, hey, I want to hear you out. I want to hear your point. Doesn't mean that Clifton is not wrong. Could very very well be wrong. I was out one night at the lounge, and an OG there life coach, and you know he had a couple brothers around. He asked the question. He said, "What would you tell the inner boy in you?" And I tried to ignore the question. A couple people answered, and you know he wanted to ask me. He's like, "What would you tell the inner boy in you?" I told him, "I don't have an inner boy in me. I'm a man. I have grown through every level. I've made mistakes. I've become accountable for my mistakes. But at my big age, there is no inner boy in me. There's a grown man. There's growth. There's maturity. The boy was left behind. I'm not being boyish at my big age, right?" And of course, it made the conversation uncomfortable, right? Because of course there should be a little boy in you. No, that may exist for some men. Carl Jung, a disciple of Sigmund Freud, they use that way of thinking, right? But that's not all people, right? The same way, all people do not have to heal. Some people are strong enough to endure and withstand and overcome, right? In order to heal, something has to be broken, right? Some people are strong enough, or sometimes lucky enough, but most of the time, some people are hardened enough or strong enough to have overcome. Everybody deals with things. Every single person on this planet has something going on, no matter the level. I think Elon Musk posted like 2 weeks ago that this dude has all the money in the world. He said he wasn't happy. All right. Everybody's dealing with something, but everybody doesn't get broken by life. And those are the individuals that should be sitting down and having this conversation. Right? People that have said, "Hey, I was able to withstand it. This is what it took." And then you can add people that are actually healed, not people that just want to have a conversation and just want to be right. This part right here, I found as a black man to be disrespectful. I really did. I found this and it's not generational, because again, if this was just to use two random names here, right? If this was Rosa Parks and Sexy Red, we'd all understand it. And I'm not comparing one guy to Rosa Parks and another guy to Sexy Red. I'm just saying, when there's a sister there, an older woman there, we have an understanding on the conversation or how the conversation should go. But when it's a black man, there's this idea that he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about, because the community is in disarray, and of course he has to be at fault. Why? Because society is a patriarchy. It is not. Black men do not live in a patriarchy. Right? Matter of fact, let's go to a quick YouTube on the patriarchy. What is the patriarchy? Right? Patriarchy is a social system where men hold a primary power and dominant roles in leadership, moral authority, social privilege, and control over property. All right. So if we look at the definition of the patriarchy, right, who are the people that are primarily in power right now? Right? Just say it in your head, right? Is it black men to you? Who's in the dominant roles of leadership in the black community? Is that black men to you? Who's the moral authority? I would say we still hold that, but nobody listens to black men right now. And social privilege, right? Who holds social privilege, right? The men who are most gunned down in the street, the men who are most likely to be arrested, right? There is no social privilege, right? The only social privilege that you can put on black men is, they're cool, right? That's not privilege. That's been fetishized. And control over property, right? Black men are not in a position of the patriarchy.
System
but let's keep
where
going.
Men hold the primary social privilege, men in positions of power within families, government.
All right, often places men in a position of power, families, government, workplaces, while limiting women's roles and opportunities, right? Again, by definition, black men are not members of the patriarchy. Black men are actually the most egalitarian men, which means that they want women to be in more places.
System has been present in many societies throughout history and is typically upheld by cultural, legal, and religious norms.
Legal, right? Do black men write laws? No, culturally, right? You could put that one on us, but even religious norms, right? Because of the blatant pandering that goes on in churches, black men have left churches in droves. These are not, by definition, black men are not patriarchal. By definition, they are not patriarchal. So when you have a conversation and you're saying, hey, black men are taking advantage through the patriarchy, right? You have not researched. You have not researched.
Well, first we gotta help ourselves.
Right. But I'm saying is,
if we can't figure out, if we can't figure out what love really means, what love looks like to us, what love has been to us, what have we been taught about love?
We come from generations of no love.
Right.
So we gotta go back to
patriarchy come with accountability?
No, I
what
think
is the
we gotta go back
definition of patriarchy?
The definition of patriarchy is when we have systems of domination for men. Right now, I think we're not doing a good job of naming the system that literally incentivizes us to be on some fuck shit, or incentivizes us to always want to be dominated in power.
Patriarchy celebrates the man.
But I think in our conversation right now as black people, a lot of times when you hear the word patriarchy, you think about the word patriarchy, you think about how we're taught in Christianity to be patriarchs. So a lot of us have a hard time thinking about leadership and thinking about how that leadership comes out in fucked up ways. I.e., I want to be a patriarch like Father Abraham, therefore patriarchy is good. Patriarchy is not good. The system of domination for women is not good. But a lot of us buy into that.
So I got a question I want to ask you.
What's your question?
How do we unlearn that? I think we unlearn that by listening to what he's saying.
About what specifically?
Therapy. So we can go understand all of it.
But listen, I want to be clear. Right now, we're talking about a system of power.
Right.
If you think interpersonally going to therapy is going to deconstruct the system of power, no.
I don't say. I'm not saying that.
But this is what we get.
And this is why I laugh right here, right? Is that Clifton is trying to get along with these brothers, man. He's trying to say, hey, all right, if we all go to therapy and we deconstruct this ideal of masculinity, right? Let's say that masculinity, we've mislearned it. We need to unlearn the way that we've learned masculinity, right? Conscience is saying, hey, but we got to deconstruct the patriarchy, right? Who's going to do that? The reason why I chuckled is, who is going to fight the system of power? If there's because do you think those men that have power are going to go to therapy and then walk out of therapy and say, you know what? Let's do the socialism thing. Yeah, let's go full communism, right? Do you think that's going to happen? Do you think do you think that they're going to give power away? So the only way that power is going to be given away is if it's taken away, which means that the thing that you're trying to get rid of, right, which is the ideology of black masculinity, right, the only thing that have stood in between, that has been the buffer between the patriarchy and honestly every other marginalized group, right? If you're saying that, hey, because what do you think? What do you think is going to deconstruct it?
Look at that. Right now, we're talking about trusted black women. Though. There's a system I'm saying that goes against it.
Aspect to it.
Right.
Well, yes.
I'm not. Don't go to no white therapy.
No, but hold on. If we're talking about therapy,
Let's talk about therapy.
this is therapy.
Yes.
Correct. This is therapeutic.
Right.
Us, looking like us.
Yes.
Right. Different ages, different experiences.
What up, Gal?
Us. It's gonna be ugly. It's not gonna be cute. We ain't professional therapists enough, but we are listening.
Okay, listen. Hold on.
And I think that's the point where we got
to stay there.
Right here is just listen.
Stay there.
Listen and find and wait for it. Because sometimes it's just the listening. I think that's the whole part of this whole thing. Because we don't listen because we live in this space of feeling like we know everything, and we are.
But here's the thing, though. You don't know everything, but I'm pretty sure, I'm almost certain that Dr. Hassan Johnson is in California, and you could have brought him down for this conversation. Because I'm almost certain this was in LA, right? It was never intended to have a productive conversation. It was never even intended. Because we have an influencer, actor, influencer, rapper, designer, right? Having a conversation. Not giving a true definition of love, not giving an apt definition of the patriarchy, right? And basically saying, hey, how even if you wanted to dismantle the patriarchy, right? Let's say you want to go at this, right? Believe all, trust all black women. How do they deconstruct it, right? You can't become more progressive. You're already the most progressive man. You can't become more egalitarian. You're already the most egalitarian man. Can't do, and I'm talking about in comparison to other male groups, right? Because the only people that you can be compared against is women. Because you already outpace all of the men in progressive voting patterns, egalitarian, right around the home, and child care. I would think at this point we'd say, damn, why don't everybody else try to be more like black men? Not black actors, but black men, right? Professional, skilled guys, Henry guys, right? High earning, not rich yet men. All right, I'm gonna wrap this up. I'm gonna skip over one thing I was gonna talk about because I want to go here.
Anymore, if we want what we say we want.
For sure.
So how? I guess my question is and we're not gonna figure it out right here at this table, right? And understanding that it's a destination. I'm sorry, it's not a destination; it's a journey. Understanding that it's a process. It's a planting a seed under which the tree will never maybe sit. Right, but it's like, but we eating fruit off of trees that we didn't plant.
Right.
And so, how do we keep that going? How do we keep the ball in the air? How do we take this dialogue that we've had here? The seed was planted. How do we keep nurturing that? How do we keep this going outside of this? Right, like, and how do we? It's so hard.
I think we got to make patriarchy look not attractive.
Yes.
I think that right now our community is experiencing a red pill pipeline, a conservative alt-right pipeline that's really, really appealing to a lot of young black boys.
And that's just simply not true. Like most black men, oh gosh, I almost forgot the article. Bam. Because we keep hearing this alt-right, this pipeline into the black community. This is from Brookings. All right. And what Brookings did is in the November election, this is November of last year. All right. In 2020, foreign-born black men showed the most support for Donald Trump at 30%. Okay. Because a lot of times, because for some reason we keep getting grouped into this. Like, oh, you know, all these black. Nope. Foreign-born black men supported Donald Trump at 30% versus 11% of U.S.-born and 10% of second-generation black men, right? So the descendants of immigrants. So the vast majority of the issue right here is not United States men, right? African-American men, Afro-American men, excuse me, right? And here's the thing. I want to show you how problematic this is if we go down into the article, right? Because, you know, even Barack Obama, right, our president got pulled into this. And again, when you say, hey, how do we fix these issues? Well, one of the things that we got to fix, one of the issues we got to fix is understanding that this isn't Afro-American men. Again, we should be pointing towards Afro-American men as being the models, as being the design, right? We need to look at them and say, hey, This is the model that we need to follow. All right? But currently, look at this part right here. Because this is very, very important. And this is why the Afro-American community, Black American community, is having an ethnogenesis right now, right? Look at this portion right here that I just highlighted. Currently, 12% of Black adults are foreign-born Americans, right? 1 out of 10. Another 9% are second generations, right? So that's 2 out of 10, right? So 1 out of 5 of us, right, is foreign-born or direct descendant of foreign-born. This is not a diaspora war right here. I'm pointing out that a lot of things that we're getting blamed for as being the egalitarian men that we are, right? Because we are the children of abolitionists, right? If you're Afro-American in this country, you're the child of abolitionists. So how you see the world, right? When once we were free, right, that gave freedom by proxy to almost every other demographic that was here, right? Because if the enslaved is now free, right, then anybody who's not enslaved obviously should be free as well, right? So Afro-Americans are descendants of abolitionists, okay? But there's a problem. By 2060, it's estimated that the Black immigrant population will make up 1/3 of expected population growth. So again, part of the ethnogenesis that's occurring right now is Black Americans saying, hey, this ain't really feel like it's me. This doesn't feel like it's me. And they're not wrong for saying this. They're not wrong for pointing this out. And one of the things that I would like is that when we start having conversations like this, we need to start being transparent about who we are, where we're from, what's the relationship that we have with our mothers, what's the relationship that we have with our fathers. Because then we can start having honest conversations, right? When that question was asked, well, how do we continue this? What can we do? That's the first thing that we could do. We got to stop using this broad paintbrush when it comes to Black men and say, well, these are the things that Black men are supporting. No, these are not the things that Afro-American men or Black American men are supporting. It's not. It never has been. It's always been a small smidgen, right? Small percentage, right? It's still 10%. But when we get these polls, right, what does it say about Black men? Oh, only 75% of Black men or 78% of Black men voted for Kamala. Well, if we extrapolate what we've learned here, no, I would probably say, and here's the thing, she's not even Afro-American, and we voted for the lady. Right? She's a Jamaican Indian, and we still voted for the lady. So my point is, everything that you want to deconstruct, we already doing that. We already have people for that. And until you have conversations with those men, right? Until you have a conversation where that is Dr. Tommy Curry, that is, I don't know, Don Lemon if he's an American, right? But, for variety, Dr. Hassan Johnson, Dr. Claude Anderson, right? Until you start having a conversation with those men around the table, right? That's when we'll start having a real conversation about the Black community. Not when you have an influencer, an actor, influencer, rapper. This was a farce, and it was disgusting. It was disgusting to make this the imagery of Black men. But that's all I got. If you disagree, this will be in the Black Dads Club group on Facebook. Feel free. Always feel free to listen to the pod. Disagree with me in the comment section. Always feel free to come to my page at Pastor Mike Will and disagree with me. Outside of that, that's really all I got. New pod dropped yesterday. Go subscribe to the top tier Patreon. We actually have it's actually pretty dope going away. You get free merch, right? So a free t-shirt or hat, not sure, but I think it's a free t-shirt. You get a resume review. That is actually starting up next week. If you go to the top tier, I'll send you the link. But next week, Black Male Strategies page should be up. Basically a professional site for Black men, for us to network, work with each other, get to where we need to be, so we can stop having these people be the representative for us. We can start being a representative of ourselves. But you got the resume review, you get the free merch. Gavin is actually doing a headshot day in June, I believe. So that will also be included at the top tier Patreon. So if you make it to Charlotte, so I mean, headshots run you $150, $200. Resume reviews run you $100, $150. The t-shirt by itself is $25. So we're basically trying to make sure that you get all your value for joining the top tier and helping us grow out the Black Dads Club brand. So appreciate anybody who tuned in tonight. Marty, what's up, brother? Q30, what's up? Appreciate y'all coming in. Again, if you want to see the replay, this will be in the Black Dads Club group on Facebook. And that's all I got, man. Holla at your boy.